Welcome to another episode of Family Focus. And as you know, every week I bring you a new topic with a new guest who is an expert in the field that we're covering. So today our topic is on marriages and marriages within the Bengali community. How has it changed from maybe in the 1980s, 1990s, and to now when, we've seen that cycle while we were growing up. Things that have changed from my point of view is the way we conduct marriages these days. It could be a big lavish wedding, £250,000 spent. It could be a small intimate wedding where you've probably only spent about £5,000. One, yes, it's about the money, but two, it's about the choices. Three, it's about the people that are involved in that and the wants and needs of everyone around you. Is it actually still about the individuals that are involved? We also see with marriages on the rise, we've also got divorces on the rise. So from the mid-90s, there's been an 8% rise in divorce rates within the Bangladeshi community itself. What brings us to today's topic is a little discussion that I was having with my guest here. And we thought, you know what, this is something that's really hot, it's trending, it's something that our community will be facing and they'd want to know what our thoughts are and what our expert says. So what we're going to discuss is not just marriages, divorces, but also the family around us. How does culture play into that? How does our religion play into that? So could it be a conflict between the new generation and the old generation? Amra buste buloini je noya generation e je kunta saira older generation e kunta saira amra ekta clash hoye jayni. So ওটা আমরা ডিসকাস করবো আজকে and আমরা দেখবো যে আমরা জেন্ডার রোলস একটা যে বেটাইন্তর রোল ফ্যামিলির মাঝে চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছে নি বেটিন্তর রোল ফ্যামিলির মাঝে চেঞ্জ হয়ে গেছে নি আমরা মা বাপে কিলা করছলা থাইন কিলা আমরা বড় করছলা is that still the same for us now? So today with me I have Kamaluddin Ali. He's my bai as well and he is a solicitor and a senior lecturer at the University of Law. But I will go over to him and he will do a small introduction of himself. So Kamaluddin Ali Bhai, how are you?
I am very well. Assalamu alaikum viewers. Thank you very much for welcoming me to your show. It's an amazing show. It feels like I've known you for a very long time, Amina. Yeah. So of course we have done many shows on many different topics relating to the law. Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you once again to give me this opportunity to come to your show on ATN Bangla and discuss family and marriages. A bit about me, I'm a solicitor. I have been a solicitor since 2010. I have also been a lecturer in law at the University of Law since 2016. So I have two roles, I guess, yeah, so quite busy, alhamdulillah. And
Wow.
also in addition to my role working in the law and also in teaching law, I have also been involved with the community. So I have been involved, as you know, with the Liberal Democrats and with various charity organizations like APASEN for many years. So alhamdulillah, with all your blessings and du'as, I have been able to function well and do the best I can.
With so many roles, you must be so busy. Where do you find the time?
I really don't know. I just have to try and manage, I guess. Yeah, juggling. It's all about juggling. I'm sure you know a bit about juggling. Yes. So it's all about how you juggle your time. And talking about family, I guess I'm also a dad as well. So dad of two.
So with all these roles, how do you manage being a dad as well? Because that's demanding in itself as well.
Absolutely. So it's just something I guess you have to do 24 hours in the day. You have to try and do the best you can, plan your day ahead. Of course, it's all about how we plan. And alhamdulillah, we are blessed, of course, being Muslim. We have to plan our days and nights and how to prepare for your next ritual, obligatory prayer, and how you fit everything in. And Allah in His infinite wisdom knows, what is best for you in your day to day, and your families and your community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. And obviously we've had our own discussions behind the scenes and that's how we've come up with actually this is something that really needs to be discussed within the community.
Yes.
And we're going to put it out there. Hopefully there'll be some callers
Yes.
that I'm phone diba, and
Oh.
then tararo opinions or
Yes.
maybe somebody's facing some sort of a challenge, and of course you're a solicitor, so you could possibly also advise them on possible solutions or where to
Yes.
find help.
Yes.
So we're going to dive straight into it.
Yes.
So the big topic now, very hot topic holo contract marriages.
Subhanallah.
Yeah. Contract marriages, because obviously at one point student visas kula oise, work permit visas kula oise with the right to bring dependents. But of course with any right that we are given, logeo take kita abuse.
Yes.
Abusing the system.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
So tara right this is a okay একটা মানুষ ইনো ইয়া লেখাপড়া করব 60 বছর 5 বছর যাইতে পারে, একটা মানুষ কাম করব 10 বছর যাইতে পারে,
Yes.
তারা ফ্যামিলি বাংলাদেশও তো ইয়াও কার অন্য কোন দেশও
Yes.
তো ইয়া কিলা থাকতো.
Yes.
So let's give them the right to bring them over.
Yes. Yes.
But what did we find with that? যে ইকটারে মানুষে কিতা করছইন, of course you're
Yes.
the solicitor, so you tell us your
So I've been specializing in immigration law for the last 20 odd years. Alhamdulillah, I have worked with many aspects of immigration law. As we know, right now, immigration is hot topic. Politically, when politicians campaign, they talk about the NHS, they talk about education, they talk about housing, but they also talk about immigration, because that defines your political viewpoint. You are either right or you are left. You are either liberal or you are conservative, or you are populist, as we know right now. So of course immigration is a big thing. Now coming back on the narrow issue about Amra community the contract marriages. Sadly, এটা নয়া জিনিস নাই. Many individuals do try and abuse immigration laws. Okay? আমরা আসলে এই টপিক আমরা আস্তে রাইত আলাপ করতাম পারমু. There's so much we can talk about. So for example, একটা example হইলো around 2006-07 যখন sector-based scheme একটা বার করছিল তারা visa. At that time, it enabled persons to come to the UK on a kitchen porter type of visas. Now many had abused that to the point that the government decided, you know what, we need to
We're going to come
scrap
back
that.
to
Yes.
this because we do have to go on a small break. I'm
Of
so
course.
sorry to interrupt
Yes,
you.
yes.
Dear viewers, please stay with us. We are going on a very short break and we're going to continue exactly from where we left off. And we're going to continue our topic on sham marriages, contract marriages. So, okay, so please stay with us. Dear viewers, welcome back to Family Focus, where we're bringing to you another episode and another topic with our expert guest here, and his name is Kamaluddin Ali Bhai. And today our topic is on marriages, and we're discussing everything in marriages, especially in the Bangladeshi community, and how it's affecting us in this day and age. So we were talking about contract marriages before we went on a break, so we're going to continue with that, because you just got started and we had to go on a break. So continue with what you were
so
saying.
like I was giving some context to say that, of course, there have been various visa categories in the past, and sadly, there have been a sizable number of our individuals who have been abusing those kind of visa categories. And as a result, as a consequence, the Home Office had actually had to phase out and remove those visa categories because
They've
of
completely removed dependent.
no,
visas.
basically I'm referring to the sector-based skilled one.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
this was one of them. Now coming back to the contract marriage that you are referring to,
Yeah.
the sham marriages as we call them, about 20 years ago, when individuals used to marry a foreign spouse, they used to bring them over, and after a year or so, the foreign partner was in a position to be able to apply for straight indefinite leave to remain. The government realized that this wasn't working very well because
So about 20 years ago, so 20 বছর আগে আমরা
20 বছর আগে আইন আসলে একটু মানে রিল্যাক্সড আছিল
Okay.
যখন তারা আইতা আওয়ার পরে এক বছরের ভিতরে towards the end of the first year they were able to apply for indefinite leave to remain. তো এই রুটটা আমরা মানে এক্সপ্লয়েট করছে. So as a result, over the years, the government, the Home Office have tightened up the rules. So they changed the spouse visa requirements. So tara bar korse ek bochor theke bar korse tara 2 years. And now the current position is that they looked into the probationary period that tara koy. Probationary period holo tara the money experts hole tara dekhse ekta biya lasting hoite hইলে পয়লা সমস্যা দাঁড়ায় কোন সময় after 3 years or so. So tara expert hole tara dekhse. So as a result, what they did was they changed the spouse visa rules from 1 year to 2 years, then 2 years to 2.5 years, and they don't grant you indefinite leave to remain. So you can only apply for leave to remain. To apply for a further 2.5 years. Once you have totaled 5 years, then you can obviously apply for indefinite leave to remain. Now, itta tara horse, but obviously now you're referring to contract marriages. Ita oilo, obviously, the issue is a lot of the times individuals are not in a genuine relationship.
Yeah.
So this is the issue. So when individuals tara jokhon genuine relationship or nai, obviously the idea for them is to deceive the authorities. So I think, and of course,
5 বছর লাগে এজনে immigration রে দুকা খিলান্দে
yeah,
It's not 5 months, it's not 1 year.
yes,
5 years is a long time.
Well, I think what a lot of people do are people who resort to such kind of sham marriages. They look at the short term. তারা মনে করে হাসা বাসায় যে কোনো উপায়ে আমরা গাঁট
ফাড়ি দিলাই.
Yeah? I mean, that's probably the perception.
Yeah.
And I've come across a lot of situations where অনেক মহিলারা আসেন আমরা কমিউনিটির তারা শাদি করেন হয়তো মামাতো ভাই মরগর ভাই probably is on some kind of student visa and they come on a dependent. আমরা এটা বর্তমান প্যাটার্ন যেটা দেখছি, this is quite common, that they come as a dependent on a student. And as a result of that, again, the Home Office have now realized this abuse of process and they've decided that no, you cannot have dependents coming on particular type of visas, or namely on a student visa, unless, of course, there are exceptions in terms of the level of course, which is now not just a degree, but a PhD level, which enables still the dependent. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah,
So when সময় মানুষে exploit করে, abuse করে, আর the Home Office decides to tighten up the rules. Does that make sense?
তারা ফয়লা সবরে সারিয়া দে যার ভালো লাগে আও.
So Brexitor আগে আরেকটা pattern, Brexitor আগে আরেকটা pattern আছিল where we had EU migrants. So তখন হইছে কিটা, you may used to have typical example. You may have a Polish national who may somehow be married to a Nigerian national, for example. তো অনেক সময় দেখা যায় যে when it comes to understanding each other, there might not be that issue. So that is why when it came to registering the marriage, তারা Home Office or money department আছে to investigate those things. So you had to provide notice to the registry office, and then they would investigate any potential sham marriages. So they give a certain number of days, and once those elapse and they have carried out their rigorous investigation, then they allow you to have the permission to get married. আগে তারা ওরকম প্রসেস এখনো এই প্রসেস আছে. So this is one of those things that you have to overcome, as it were.
So if somebody, this is more of a legal question, if somebody's come, as a dependent or something, and they've come to this country, and taraya দেখা যায় আমার রিলেশনশিপ আর ওয়ার্ক করে না, what happens then? তারারে কি তা দেশ আরবার ফিরাইয়া দিলাইনি না ও দেশ রোয়ার তারার একটা পারমিশন থাকে?
Well, it depends first of all in what capacity that they came to the UK. So if they are a dependent of a student, for example, the situation has to be taken into account with regards to the main applicant. The main applicant would be the person that they got married to, and whether or not that main applicant is actually following their course in the first place. If the marriage subsequently breaks down, of course, I mean, as far as the rules are concerned, once you come to an end of the visa and if the marriage has come to an end, the obvious choice is, you should think about going back home. So, of course, if they intend not to, then they will be entitled to seek legal advice, whatever the situation may be.
Okay.
So it depends, I guess.
Okay, so that's a big gap as well.
Yes.
So we've talked about sort of contract marriages and
Yes.
stuff. How about in this day and age, do you think there's a lot of youngsters going to Bangladesh to get married now?
That's a very good question, actually. It's a wonderful question. There are two issues. আগে আমার আব্বা আম্মা জেনারেশন তারা আগে গো করতো। আগে যখন আমরা আব্বা এবং দাদা এরা জেনারেশন তারা আইসলা ও দেশও, not many men came here to settle down. Their perception was very different. Many decided that they would go back to Bangladesh, get married, get married, have children in Bangladesh, come back here, live bachelor lives here, send money back home. তখন basically different সময় আছিল। এখন obviously now we are now into the second or third generation living in the UK. Last 20 years ago, একটা trend আছিল যে আচ্ছা না সময় মতো এখন if it's a boy who's grown up, if we cannot find a suitable bride or for the girl a suitable groom, then perhaps the option is to look to Bangladesh or abroad.
Why do you think we're going to find someone in Bangladesh and not someone here?
I think age manchur perception asil obviously they'll still trying to sort of embrace the cultural values and deshor beti biya korle the tradition to have that thing. Now, of course, now that we have many, alhamdulillah, we have quite a number of our community members, British Bangladeshis, even in the last 20 years, who have made massive contributions to the British society and economy. And of course, we're here to stay. This is our home. So ekhon Bangladesh was our home for it. And coupled with that, I can even talk about the tightening of the immigration rules. As you know, ekhon Bangladesh was the afne gya shadi korta hoy. You have to show, if you're an able-bodied person, you have to show a minimum salary requirement.
Yeah. And that keeps going up every
Indeed. So the current
doesn't
requirement last year, it was risen to £29,000. So you cannot really be earning gross annual salary of less than £29,000. I guess 18,600. And that was introduced back in 2012. And before that, there wasn't that requirement. So of course now what they're saying is only if you can afford to, then you can maybe think about it. Yeah.
Right.
So that's another whole huge dimension altogether, isn't it? So there's quite a lot to think about there.
Yeah.
Really.
So some of the people that go to Bangladesh to get married, be it a guy, be it a woman, do you think there's like a big cultural clash? Like from your experience, obviously we've not got statistics here, but it's what we're talking about our experiences today.
Yes, I think to be honest, there's different ways of looking at it because, of course, as we know, especially since 2012 and onwards, the government have decided that no, it's very important that the foreign spouse, whichever country that they are coming from, they need to understand basic command of English. So as you know,
So the
language is a
test.
big issue. So they have to overcome or be in a position where they understand the language aspects. So although it is at a very basic level, English mathota understanding tahtoibo, comprehension. So basic command speaking and listening aspects at a level as A1 level tara pass hotoiba. And once they come back here, when they apply for their leave to remain after the 2.5 years,
Yep.
they have to increase that level to A2. তারপরে যখন when they go to indefinite leave to remain, they have to apply for a further intermediate level, B1. And when they go to settlement, they have to pass the life in the UK.
Okay.
So these are some of the things that they have to overcome. So all in all, I understand but in terms of, I guess, the choice of the bride itself, the Bangladesh, of course, is not the same Bangladesh that we know from 30 years ago.
No.
So we know we have a growing youth within Bangladesh, educated youth, of course. So a lot is changing. The world is a global village, as we say. But so yes, the cultural barriers nishtoi tahbo, yeah? Because obviously, in terms of colloquialisms, mannerisms, what we're accustomed to here in the UK, maybe but it depends what people want in life. Yeah?
But from your experience, do you see like those, let's say the man or the woman has brought over their spouse,
Yes.
and once they come here, it's a big clash because it's not like how it was, because essentially when you আমরা যেগুলা বাংলাদেশে যাই আমরা হলিডে যাই
Yes.
হলিডে তো ফুর্তি ফার্তি করি আইলাই
Yes.
when you come back
Yes.
আর এই সময় your partner's here as well,
Yes.
there's a big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, you just reminded me there was a film a few years ago, 20 years ago, called Brick Lane.
Oh
Yeah, so you may have come across that. So so a lady who comes from Bangladesh gets married to someone who's a bit older. So
Yeah.
I think ita onek sad stories hol ase.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it's about individuals who click, and I think at the end of the day, in Bangladesh, I think the culture in Bangladesh is very different. Bangladesh is jota jot fotafot, as they say. Gyo money. If you're in a journey and your car breaks down in Bangladesh, you don't need to take it to a garage. While the car is moving, they can fix it. There's a flow. There's an organized chaos. Yeah, definitely. So same way, Konya Faitai, one tour maze biafar. Yeah, you can get one tour maze.
But that's because, do you think that's because of the passport?
Possibly,
It's
but
the power
I
of
think
the passport.
there's also drive. Everyone shop that rate ase. Yeah.
Okay.
Shop that rate ase. So I mean, you just have to khali hukum ditai. You go on a Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the basha and everything, lighting, shokolta tika se, khonya ready, everything ready. But you see what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but the issue is, putting all the jokes aside, ultimately, really, it's about understanding what am I doing, and how am I doing things. I think there's a general perception that আমরা এখন লন্ডন গেলে UK গেলে লাইফ বানাইলি মো put things into a bit more perspective. আগে আলহামদুলিল্লাহ আমরা মানছে চিন্তা ধারণা very different আছিল আমরার parents family traditions তারা আগে শুনছি ইতলান আমরা মই মুরব্বি মাতিতা. When they hear that the groom is actually from the UK, the family used to frown upon it. They say, Baba re Baba, amar furire biya dita, amar bilat pari deita ki. That can't happen.
Yeah.
People were very proud of, house proud, land proud, and it was a very different situation. But now is, by hook or crook, whatever it is, I think the general perception is quite changed. But I think that's also now changing because people are realizing too. So Bangladesh, it depends on the families, the individuals. There are people who don't necessarily feel that they need to come.
Yeah.
So because they have a very good lifestyle in Bangladesh. So I think it depends on individuals. It depends on parties that you have married to. It depends on who's referring who. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I guess we can't really generalize, but it depends.
No, we can't generalize, but also what we see, and আমারও জানা মতো a few stories আছে where they should be a khursoin, especially, and I'm going to say this, and I hope my sisters out there don't kill me for it, especially women.
Yes.
Betinte দেখা যায় ওদের সর ফয়ন্তরে বেটাইন্তরে বিয়া করন বিয়া করিয়া তারা আইন আইয়া তারা লিগ্যাল হইন লিগ্যাল হইয়া তারা বাংলাদেশও বয়ফ্রেন্ড আছে hogure anto khori ino divorce khoria shesh finish hogure andra.
Yes.
And there's so many of those stories, and it's so common now. It's unbelievable that ekta manchore biya khoria 3 bochor 5 bochor takto parbo. Even they have children together.
Subhanallah.
But tarar ultimate ulterior motives dekta asil ওটা জোহর বাদ দেয় তারা obviously তারা ব্রিটিশ হয়ে গেলে তো তারা দেশে গিয়ে বিয়ে করতে পারবো তারা স্পাউস রে আনতে পারবো and it's becoming so common.
Yes.
So now I think I'm talking for the younger generation.
Yes.
They're so scared of
Yes.
going to Bangladesh and
Yes.
getting married should they find themselves in that
Yes.
situation.
As I say, I mean, sometimes it's about the communication. আমরা মনে করি যে লন্ডন থেকে গেছি আমি annual leave থেকে গেলাম আমার সীমিত দিন I've got limited days on holiday. I therefore need to spend the time to relax with the family, possibly meet a girl, marry her, and then perhaps
Limited time
consummate the marriage, maybe come back and then apply for the visa. But it's important, I think, to pause and take some time, understand families, understand how individuals are, Bani. And you're probably right, and it can happen, but it can even happen here. I mean, obviously people are not happy.
Of course it happens here, but what it is like for the youngsters, thara lagi ekta like embarrassing situation হয়ে যায় শর্মর একটা জিনিস না যে আমি দেশে গিয়া 20 লাখ 50 লাখ খরচ করি আমি বিয়া করছি বিয়া করিয়া বেটি আনছি আনার বাদে তাই বয়ফ্রেন্ড লইয়া তাই গেল
yes
do you get it like it's so embarrassing and it puts so many people in like so many youngsters I খালি তারা বিয়া করতে চায় না তারা 35 40 years yes sometimes আমরা কই it was the career sometimes আমরা লেখাপড়া আসলাম of course late হয়ে যায় but এখন দেখা যায় মানে বিয়াও ডরায়
that is another issue we can talk about definitely so that issue is obviously it's about today's postmodern society আমরা যখন parents of generation তারা rural village অথবা rural society থেকে তারা আইসলা আগে every household had about more than 2 children probably 5-6 children
6,
right
10.
looking at it from a geographical point of view যতবা চেন্তা হন তো জমিনো খামর looking at a historical point of view I think in fact there was a study that was shown in the world right now the average number of children per household is 2.2 give or take now coming back to here now বর্তমানে the society এখন যদি Sainsbury design you don't need to have a shop assistant serve you have a DIY servicing
self-service
মাথা লাগে না okay মাথা লাগে না এখন গরো বানাইলিছে তারা ওলান you can have these really lovely apartments 1 bedroom 2 bedroom একলা থাকো the point is এখন আগে আসলে না মিলিয়া থাকো
extended family
থাকো or have a but if you want to have a family and you're particularly living in London you think to myself what is going on here now postmodern society বর্তমানে 20 years now I would say that there is fast becoming a trend of our youngsters now there might be maybe a bias more towards female but also male too where I wouldn't say it's an epidemic but regretfully it's an issue আছে and one only has to look at are we going on break or something
I don't know
we're not going on break so one has to look at so social media outlets or বিভিন্ন ধরনের matrimonial sites সকল আছে to know that there's a massive demand where people are moving away now of resorting to the traditional way of getting to know somebody to get married and online
the digital platforms are quite big now
that's right
the apps and things
and
there's a lot of events
so
marriage events
শকলতাত বেশি so মানে high number unmarried and high number looking to get married
high number getting married and divorced
that too এরপরে আরো নতুন টার্মিনোলজি আছে ghosting I mean I didn't come across that you've heard of
I've heard of ghosting
so,
wow you know about ghosting amazing
I'm with the program
okay you're in with the youngsters
who said I wasn't young
of course you're in with the youngsters no that's definitely a thing but obviously that fear any youngster that I talk to that isn't married now they're just like I don't think I can do it because there's so much to think about এখন যদি আমি বিয়া করার যাই আমার ফ্যামিলি কিতা চাই
yes
আমি কিতা চাই obviously ফুরিয়ে কিতা চাই ফুরির ফ্যামিলি কিতা চাই বাদে নে সপ্তাহ কোনো মন্তে মিলাইলাই বাদে একজনের কিছু বেড়া লাগি যাব ফুরিয়ে যাইব আমি বিয়া করব ওলাইব ওদের না আমি তোমার ফ্যামিলির লগে থাকতে পারতাম না
Yes.
I need to stay in my own place
Yes.
or Islamic values দেখাইবা
Yes.
যে ইসলামিকলি আমার রাইট আছে যে
Yes.
আমি জিকাইতাম পারমু যে I want to stay separately so যে বেটা 35 40 years মা বাবার লগে থাকতে একটা উঠিয়া কিলা যাইব কি do you get it and
Yeah.
also a lot of the time those people are the last ones left in the house. They can't just leave their parents.
Yes.
Because Amra, in the Bengali society, we
Yes.
do have that pressure on the youngers to look after their parents.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, to be honest, Amra, dunyaita sikitar lagi. We have to understand, ultimately, if you look at it from a spiritual, religious point of view, Amra dunyaita isi aforika. And ultimately, Allah gase Amra, if we can achieve the pleasure of Allah, we pass that test and we go to Jannah. That's the main thing. Coming back to how we live our lives, have a family and go, I think it's important to understand different dynamics. It's very important to understand there's nothing stopping you from being devoted and loyal to your wife and at the same token be in a position where you can look after your parents.
Of course.
But obviously in today's society and the way sometimes homes are made, it might not be ideal to be able to live in an extended family setting. And again, some individuals feel that they are professional, they need a bit of space and a bit of independence just to live in their own nuclear family, then itaulo mani communication and understanding urufre. Yeah, it's quite important. So I think ultimately, these discussions need to be had before you commit.
We're going to continue this
Yeah.
discussion because I know it's something that people do want to hear and talk about, and it will raise, discussions at home as well.
Absolutely.
Dear viewers, please stay with us. We're going on a short break, and we are going to be back, and we're going to continue our conversation about marriages in the modern days and family life straight after the break. So please stay with us. Thank you.
Dear viewers, welcome back to Family Focus, where today's topic is on marriages and family and marriages in the modern day. I've got my guest here today, Kamaluddin Alibai, and he's a solicitor and senior lecturer at the University of Law. And we're going to continue our discussions about youngsters getting married in this day and age and the extended family and what they're facing. So we'll continue from where we left off.
So we were in the middle of a lively, interesting conversation.
Yes.
And thank you once again, Amina, and thank you for viewers who haven't, who've just joined us. So I hope so far you've enjoyed the discussion that we've had, and I think we've touched upon a number of different topics.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. So we were talking about contract marriages, we were talking about sham marriages, we were talking about the abuse of the process, we were talking about marrying abroad, and now we've come to basically marriages in the UK, yeah, and how individuals sometimes are delaying perhaps getting married, and we were looking into some of the issues regarding the modern day methods of getting married, and very interesting topic, isn't it? Age asil amra je moi murabbi dekhta arranged marriage. Era zat balani, hota balani, hota balani. Even to the point I remember, even my parents' generation, tara koita, khonyare amra ataya, amra khonyar thao sundor kina, otao dekhta, oto dekhta. So that used to happen, believe it or not. And even,
I know it did.
Yeah. Erfore khonyar sulo dekhta, shokolta dekhta. Yeah, and there were many things ita mani rusu mokholase, but obviously in today's culture, today's society, of course, it is very much about individuals and individuality. Tarforeo dekhbai, there are individuals who are educated, second generation, third generation. When it comes to family and marriages, there are honor, tradition, loyalty. Those things are quite important in particular families. It depends on individuals, really.
Yeah.
And on Eshomwe, I say sometimes you may have individuals within the household who can be quite opinionated, and sometimes they rule the roost. And tara jodi feel koron jene আমরা কথা সারা এটা হইতো না, এরকম হইতেই হবে, আমরা দেশো বাড়ি ও জায়গাত, আমরা এত proud, আমরা এরা লগে খেশি করি না, এটাও হয়. So it's very sad, because ultimately a young man or a young woman who wants to get married, আমরা দিনী ইসলামিক আমরা ধর্মীয় এটা মানে duty. উপযুক্ত সময় আইলে, you have to think about finding the right partner. Okay. Now there are many caps that we end up wearing. We wear our Western caps, we wear our traditional caps, we wear a sort of cap where we are good kids or good young people. Yeah. So ultimately shobre abar kushi kora jay na. One has to look at, for example, even biya korar shomoy, how you're going to organize the wedding. You touched upon that. And back in the days it used to be না আমরা সবরে আমরা ইনভাইট করতাম হইব, কারণ আমার বাপ হইল কমিউনিটি লিডার, কমিউনিটি লিডার, you know how it is. So এখন local mayor, local area না হইলে আমরা একটা প্রেস্টিজের বিয়াফার. Yeah, but now that is not the case. Now is, I think, partly mostly to do with COVID and stuff. এখন obviously we realize the big things in life, and it's about your immediate family and what really matters.
I heard a good joke in something serious. So somebody said to me, why would I want to get married and spend £50,000 on a marriage? Because these days you don't do it once, you might have to do it twice. So I'll save the money.
So true. Because I mean there are instances where you can barely end up, you're still paying the loans and, for the cars, the flash cars, the food and the whole. And, onek shomoy dekha geche, ilanor aro situation ase, even nikah or oibar age, alhamdulillah, arota issue ase. This is so burning and so beautiful. Mata shomoy aro koto issue dekhola amra mind. Like, for example, amra British Bangladeshi tradition ase, wedding day ekta biya nai. Ekhon biyar function side fashta.
Yeah, of course.
Ekhon oilo tomar দেখা দেখি, সিনিফান, নিকা, বিয়া, ওয়ালিমা, অন্য আমি কইলিছি ফাস্টা। মাছ খাটাখাটি হিতা ওটা আছে। Yeah, so do you see where I'm going? So এটা trending, এটা মানে it's wow, I mean, is it really necessary? You know? But obviously, if you look at it from a different spin, different angle, if both parties have the means to do so and they'd love to throw a party for whatever it is, that's another way of looking at it. But obviously, extravagance take আমরা একটু বাসিয়া থাকতাম. Yeah. Now I think ek gunya dui, I mean, we went on to that issue, but it's amazing how, alhamdulillah, I mean, it's nice. Amra culture kintu beautiful. Yeah. Amra culture is beautiful, and we like to, you know, we are very proud. I mean, শুধু বাঙালি না, but Sileti, একটা মানে, there's a beautiful uniqueness in how we do things, alhamdulillah. But I think it's also testament to how Amra the Bortoman community, Amra, you know, we're very successful in today's society, and we like to show, you know, that, you know, we are enjoying a good time, having a good time. It's about important we are saying, But I guess that's the second aspect. It's about the wedding preparation. But coming back to marriages, and you know, it's,
but when you're talking about these marriages, the thought just come to me. There's also a lot of stories where, yes, the groom side has spent 40,000 and the bride side has spent 40,000.
Yes.
The other million 80,000.
Yes.
Okay. 80,000 যদি তুমি তাই জমাইয়া একটা গড় লাগি ডিপোজিট রাখতা
Yes.
Yeah, that's a long term asset that will pay you back more. তুমি 1200 মাঞ্চরে খাওয়াইয়া তোমার কোনো লাভ নাই, right? তোমার নিজের ফ্যামিলি লইয়া করতে হয়, that's nice. But also the negative side to that is all loans and financial crisis or কারণে newly couples or মাঝে মাইল লাগি যায়.
my luck is yes.
Because they can't cope, it's too much. He you know, like say exciting.
Yes.
Let's spend lots of money. Let's show everybody how beautifully it can be done. But then they're fighting over the loans.
I think it's important to understand perspective here. Just because the Jones are doing it, Nani, I think it's wrong thinking. I think you have to think about what is it that I can do, and what is it that the woman or the man I'm about to marry.
But even like there's couples that want to do that, want to do a small thing with their family. And then bara manche khoiba ya ita kita tarbiya emne to dekhi tarar fosha kori ase tara dekhi like our community is very
I think it all comes down to that story, Aesop's fable story ase bafar sele donkey luya atra ekhon bafe koila sele fut tumi uti dao donkit ami atta daimu. You know that story, as we know, people were saying no, old man shouldn't be on the donkey, the boy should, and vice versa. And towards the end, tara kita korse tara donkey te falaya preach obaiti falai disle. I mean, the point, the more
tara donkey re boya laya gese.
So the moral of the story is, you have to look at what is right for you and the person that you are marrying. Ultimately, you know, at the end of the day, as you quite rightly said in a joking way, but it's true, because onek manush loan khoria to financial hardship khoria just to show face, getting married, is ultimately it's about understanding where you get barakah. If you have the means to do so, you should not be stingy.
But this is
if you have the money to throw a lavish wedding, you shouldn't really be stingy. By the same token, I think you should try to avoid extravagance. And alhamdulillah, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam ta'n dekha gেছে middle path. Amra Musliman, amra middle path, amra moderate থাকতাম, কোনো রকম extreme থাকতাম না. So you have to think about all those things, balance all these things together.
It's very hard to balance our culture with our religion. Okay, I'll tell you why I'm saying those things. Of course, there are people that find the balance. But our culture says, okay, আমরা ফুয়াফুরি বিয়া লাগছে, আমরা তারার খালা মামা ইন সাসা ইন সবরে হইতাম হইব, of course, তারা ফ্যামিলি। এর বাদে দেখা যায় সাসা গর বইনর হৌর হরিরে খোয়া লাগবো, হেনতানোর গরর বাই বোন যারা আসইন, তালুর গরর বাই বোন আসইন। Before you know it, it spiraled well out of control.
I think that is not. I think issue culture key জিনিস. What is culture? Culture is food, clothing, and the beautiness of the Bengali Southeast Asian culture. That is culture. Religion doesn't really have any restrictions like that. Yeah, it's important to have a nikah. It's important at a walima khorta. Ita amra Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam sunnat. এখন কথা হইলো, it is not just about, it's about, I think, having common sense, applying common sense. আমরা common sense to apply করি, the মানুষে মনে করতে, it's all about communication. অনেক সময় আছে, you can tell your distant তালুই গরর বাইর গরর নাতি, you can বাগনা বইনফুট whoever they are, ফোন করিয়া কইতে পারবা, we are holding event, দোয়া করবা, দোয়ার লাগি ফোন করছি, but owing to restrictions আমরা এরকম আমরা মানে খরতাম নাই, because we want to keep the numbers low. And I think it's all about the
বাট মানছে
communication.
মাইন্ড করি লাইন নিজেও করো মানছে মাইন্ড করলি বা বাবা
Yeah.
আমার মুখরে কইতাম আসলাম কইতে দিলা না do you get it we're stuck we are very much stuck and I do see this a lot in the youngsters where they're so confused because তারা ইসলামিক ভ্যালু do things within your means তোমার
Yeah.
যেটার ক্ষমতা আছে ওটার ভিতরে
Yes,
করো
yes, yes.
রাইট বাট দেখা যায় কালচারও গিয়ে দেখা যায় না আমি সবরে কইতাম হইব আমার রাস্তা গাঁওরে আমি দাওয়াত দিতাম হইব
Yeah, I think it all comes down to also how we used to have these weddings back then.
yeah
So I remember when we were children, the weddings used to be held in the school halls, the canteen halls. Do you remember those
Yes.
times? Wow. I mean,
নিজে ওইটারই করা লাগতো।
we can think about the VHS, videos. Mani, or the Bengali Bollywood music, aage, piche, এরকম গান হইতো আর you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
আর এর বাদে the nice songs at the end সময়
বিদায় দেওয়ার সময়।
বিদায়ের গান ওগুলো আছে so the point is those classic things are irreplaceable. These are
Yeah.
moments. These are nostalgic moments.
Moments.
Now এই সময় 1000-2000 মানুষ দেও কোনো সমস্যা নাই
Yeah.
and there was something very innocent and beautiful about those kind of things. অনেক সময় আমরা দেখি সাদা কমিউনিটির মাঝে তারা কোনো সময় তারা লিমোজিন হায়ার করে না তারা কিন্তু খালা ট্যাক্সির মাঝে একটা হোয়াইট রিবন বান্ধিয়া আর বৈরাতি যারা আছে তারা রেড বাসের মাঝে তারা প্রাইভেট হায়ার রেড বাস করে and it's nice because it's এত পয়সা লাগে না
yeah
and it's authentic. Yeah, so it depends because ultimately it's all about communication and organizing the wedding in the best way. If you feel that you have a massive family with a massive clan, then perhaps it's good to think about those things because ultimately khani khabaita tara dekhta bride and groom lagi dua horta family re dekhta enjoy horta and go,
Yeah.
isn't it? So it's
So then
all-
we go on to the topic of
Yes.
living
Yes.
with extended families.
Yes,
So we're seeing a very high number of women who are asking to be in their own homes. They don't want to
Yes.
live with the extended family, be it the groom's mother, father, brothers or sisters. Obviously, when we were growing up, we were all crammed into one house and
Yes,
you had
yes.
your brother there, your bubby there, your nephews, nieces, everybody there. We don't see that anymore, or it's more like people want to come away from that.
Yes. I think philosophically speaking, Foila, age asil, manchur atta onek boro asil. They lived in small houses or flats, but many people came and went, and people were accommodating.
Yeah.
Ekhon philosophically dekhle apni dekhba gorain aro massive houses, but manush nai.
Manush nai.
Selfless.
Yeah.
And so manche moimur obbe hoin maya doya uthi gese dunya থেকে but I think itar khotar maze ye right ase wrong ase, it depends how you see it.
See it.
Obviously the way I look at it is we have a very growing aging population.
Yep.
এখন people are living longer because of health, diet and various reasons. So that itself will have a lot of issues. So obviously by the time we get older, there will be that situation. Allah hukum hayat kundin asun, but what will happen is there are things that will have to be put in place. Obviously, there will obviously be a greater requirement to think about, how you will have these care packages taking place. Think about that. These are other issues. Amra society, community, not just about the family and marriage. Amra daito kita as Muslims, as Bangladeshis. Amra a cultural tradition ase. যে আমরা মা বাপরে আমরা সবসময় look after করি এটা আমরা tradition. But moving on with families and how they emerge and how they evolve, both partner as being professional and kids not having much time. Amra বর্তমানে যে society very much self, me, consumerism. Amra day to day hectic life ওর মাঝে সময় আসেনি to look after the elderly generation. That's a wonderful topic in its own right.
Yep.
I'm sure অনেক গভীর চিন্তা ধারণা আছে.
Yep.
There's a lot to think about that. But coming back to how you think about a potential partner who will say, well, I don't really want to take that responsibility. এটা করতাম চাই না এখন তুলনা করুন না if you compare that in say Bangladeshi society বাংলাদেশও গেলে মানে মানুষের অভাব নাই in that respect. বাসায় থাকো কি গাঁৱৰ বাড়িত থাকো ই রেসপেক্টর মাঝে মানুষের অভাব নাই. So you will have that thing. Whereas in যারা বাংলাদেশ থেকে আয় তারাও নিজে হয় আমরা বাংলাদেশও থাকতে আমরা বিলাসিতা করছি আমরা রান্না করা লাগছে না এই দেশে আমরা রান্না করা লাগে স্টাডি করা লাগে সব কিছু করা লাগে ইয়ে আর
লন্ডন আমার মজা নিজে রান্না
লন্ডন শান্তি নাই
ইনো খাবার মানুষ নাই
exactly so we hear that as well yeah so I guess it depends how you see things but it all comes down to individuals and whether you have been fortunate with various circumstances to live in a way where you have the love of space and loving family and close family around you yeah so yeah
it's a very difficult situation you know a man to get married
yes
and to be split between his parents and his wife is a very difficult situation for the man. Of course, women are right sometimes because you do also get very good girls who have got married, have the right intention. You know, tara sai hori loge takto. But if family maze gya khamai yalle, they make the life hell.
Yes.
Constantly tukatuki, khe khano boigila, khe khano kita khorilila, khe matat khafor disoina. You know, all those kind of silly nonsenses. To me, zebla fwa biya diso, ishomo to dekya biya diso. So why are you making somebody something else? And I live beti sharadin khamo asel. Khamta kya ya, oh, sharadin khamo asla randa bara khe khorto. Ami randia khawaitam ni ami hori. So একটা মানুষ যদি একলা থাকে ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্টলি থাকে আজ যদি তারা রান্ধে না বারা তাকে টেক ওয়ে আনলে কেউ কিছু হইতো না বাট গরো গিয়া যদি আমার আরো 5 জন মানুষ থাকই না আমি আই স্টিল হ্যাভ টু থিংক অ্যাবাউট দ্যাম তারা কি লাগা হইতো বাট যদি একটা আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং থাকে দেন অফ কোর্স হরিও কইতা আর ইউ নো আমি আইস কোরআন দিলিছি আমার বউ সারা দিন কাম করিয়া আইবো টায়ার্ড থাকবো আমি জোর বিকজ দ্য ওয়ে আই সি ইজ আমার ফুরিয়ে যদি এই সিচুয়েশনে থাকতো আমি রান্ধিয়া খাওয়াইম না তখন আমার ফার বড় ডিফারেন্ট হইতো
very interesting. Obviously, you know, there are natoks and dramas made on that subject as well. I'm sure we all know this. So again, itato obviously traditional amra the gender roles hol ase. You know, eta expectation থাকে গরর বউ অনেক expectation থাকে. And so it's a difficult one, but you know, ultimately, if you have to look at what is best for the family, as on good husband তাহলে তো obviously তারা help করবা understanding oibo afnat nani and mother-in-law they need to understand as well ekshomay taro asla ekshomay bohu asla and I'm sure they had similar issues
well
so those are things obviously you know but you hit the nail on the head.
The thing is like times have changed amra shomoy change gise ek shomoy maybe like in our mom's time khalas time you know tara sob shomoy gora asla তারা সব রান্না বাড়া করছেন তারা হুরু তালুক আফটার করছেন বাড়া খাম করা লাগছে না বেটাইতে করছেন না আমরা যে জেনারেশনের মাঝে থাকি ইট ইজ প্রিটি মাচ বেটা বেটি দুইজনে খাম করা লাগে টু কোপ ফাইন্যান্সিয়ালি কোপ অলসো একটা ফুরিরে তুমি শিক্ষা দেখি আনছো এই শিক্ষা তো কোনো কারণে করছে বিকজ তারা প্রোগ্রেশন করতে চায়
education so she wants to have a career yes
so এখন যদি তুমি স্টপ করলাও যে না ক্যারিয়ার হইতো না তুমি গরো থাকিয়া সবরে রান্দিয়া বারে খাওয়াইতে হইব এই মানছে 15-20 বছর ফরিয়া কি তা লাভ পাইলতে
I think it's all about the understanding that one needs to have in place so if the woman feels that no actually I want to put my career on hold first of all I want to have children look after the family maybe help around the house and the good thing is because alhamdulillah in 2025 you can actually have a very good job as well without having to go to an office 5 days a week এরকম সুযোগ সুবিধা আছে
hybrid working basically
hybrid working so of course thankfully তারপরেও না can মানি না just because you are at home that you're not working in fact you probably will be expected to work more so it all depends on how you balance everything so I think obviously for young people this is not to deter anyone you know marriage is still a good thing okay we're laughing on that aren't we but the thing is you know there is still hope and especially for those who probably feel that they're you know in a situation there is still hope and you know it's not over until it's over you know so if you're not happy then you just have to think and you know there is happiness you know maybe not if it doesn't work first time then there's happiness the second time. Absolutely. Without saying too much, Nani. But so I'm not saying all this to deter you. So it's all about how you communicate, how you understand each other, how individuals thara dine shadi korta, how do they want to live their life, and thara parameters, thara boundaries thara create korte hoibo apnara. Communication is the key. Yeah, and knowing what it is that your future partner wants, or speak to your prospective partner, and dekhta is amra milboni, amra personality loge milboni, or
But
even
sometimes
with the
দেখা যায়
family.
your partners they're actually okay. Thara
Yes.
মিল আছে, but
Yes.
extended family এ বেড়া সারা লাগাই দেন.
Absolutely.
Because,
Many a time
you know,
that
like
দেখি.
the example that you gave about women wanting to stay at home.
Yes.
Okay, let's say they got a career. When they got
Yes.
married, they were like, actually, I want to stay at home, raise the kids and stuff. But in তোর আসলে কোনো winning situation নাই. We'll come back to this
So, okay,
topic.
thank you.
Dear viewers, please stay with us. We're going to continue this because I'm quite passionate about this one. So stay with us and we'll see you after the break. Thank you.
One.
Dear viewers, welcome back to Family Focus, and today's topic is marriages and family, and I have with me my guest Kamaluddin Ali Bhai, and he is a solicitor and senior lecturer at the University of Law. Obviously, before we went to our break, Ramata Taslam there about extended families and when women live with their in-laws, their zara biashade khoria tara hori loge takhoin tara life for maze kita orekhon. What is the trend now? So before we went to the break, Kamaluddin Bhai, we were talking about how women cannot win. Okay, betintor kono winning situation nai. So beti jodi khamo jay problem. Goro boy problem. So betin maniu problem. Right? From any angle. তুমি হাজবেন্ডের অ্যাঙ্গেল তাকে দেখো, ফুয়াফুনির অ্যাঙ্গেল তাকে দেখো, হরির অ্যাঙ্গেল তাকে দেখো, বেটিন মানিও প্রবলেম। সো বেটি যদি খামো যায় তে সারাদিন তাইন খামো তাকলা খে রান্দা বাড়া করতো, খে ক্লিনিং করতো, খে হুরুতা রাখতো, ওকে তাইন পয়সা বানাইতা আর আমি গরো বইয়া রান্দা বাড়া করতাম নি। আর বেটি যদি গরো বই থাকে কই বাবা আমার ফুয়া সারা পয়সা খাইলার, বেটি বেখামা লেখাপড়া করে কিছু করতে পারেন না, আমার ফুয়া খাওয়ার। There's no winning.
Thank you, my dear sister. Alhamdulillah, it's a very interesting topic. I think I'll start off on a positive note. I think ita ulo mani isolated incidents that tarakoi. I think generally speaking, ita oi. Ultimately, it's about understanding each other. If you have a loving husband, and if you have a loving father-in-law, he can compensate for the difference. Yeah, so that's one way of looking at it. I think ultimately, amra ashole oise kita, the saying ase, in a house, in a kitchen, a woman likes to own her kitchen. So obviously, you have a certain way, a certain trait about you. You may even have OCD for that matter. It could be from household kitchen stuff to overall general, idea about. So you might have individual personality clashes as well.
Yeah.
So these things can happen, and আমরা অবশ্যই আরেকটা ইনসিডেন্ট কমিতা তো নাটকও হয়ে থাকে বাংলাদেশও মানুষের এক্সটেন্ডেড ফ্যামিলি তো ইভেন বাংলাদেশও ইলান থাকলে when you have extended family বড় উঠানোর মাঝে তিন বওয়াইন ফ্যামিলি থাকেন তারা জালো হলের মাঝে লাগি যায় কোনো সময় হরিও হলের লগে লাগে এটা লাগে but ultimately it's about understanding, and in today's modern dynamic societies, the example this on there might even be some modern mother-in-laws. Tara bosh temon hoise, tara world of work tara kam kore. Tarfore goro ayarle tara very thinking
different mentality
ta coin.
Of course.
So ultimately, zeta age hoisla before the break. If you look at the daughter-in-law, like the daughter. That's beautiful, that's wonderful.
Of course.
Yeah, and I think ultimately the target of Islam, যদি আমরা seriously আমরা আল্লাহ মানি আর আমরা বিলিভ করি একটা accountability, আমরা every single action খালি তো নামাজ পড়লে হইতো না। আমরা নবী সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি সাল্লামে কিতা করছেন, তাই যখন সাহাবী হল আনছিলা, তাই 23 বছর তার বিয়া দিছেন how to develop a beautiful personality, akhlaq. এরপরে না নামাজ মেহরাজও গেলা, এরপরে না নামাজ ফাস্ট নামাজর money order I say to pray and everything and fast. But before that, it was about how you can develop a beautiful personality. Amra Musliman hishabe amra akhlaq, amra character in every aspect of life is important.
Yeah.
Jodi amra eta manilai shopta easy. হিসাবর মাঝে সহলতা ইজি বিকজ আমরা যখন বিউটিফুল পার্সোনালিটি থাকে আর আমরা ইমান সহিত যখন মারা যাই মানুষ কইবা না বা অমুক সাসি অমুক খালা অমুক আম্মা আমার মায়া করছেন and বালা মানুষ আসলা নিশ্চয় অটোমেটিকলি চকুর পানি পড়ব আর যদি মনে করেন বাবাজি এই আমারে তো সাতাইয়া গেছেন রে মানুষ তো কইবা আচ্ছা তো খানলাম তো এটা তো আমার ডিউটি পালন করলাম 40 দিন তো কুরুসুরত ডিউটি পালন করলাম বলা হরিয়া গেছে এটা হইতো পারে আল্লাহ মাফ করুক ইলান হইতো না বাট অবভিয়াসলি ইটস অ্যাবাউট ইউ আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং how am I treating people? I would want to treat people the way I would deserve to be treated myself.
আমরার মাঝে একটা থাকে যে আমার যদি ফুরি থাকে আমি খেলা চাইমু আমার ফুরিরে আরেকটা মানুষে রেসপেক্ট দিত বা মায়া করতো সেখানে আমি আরো বেটার ফুরিরে আনিয়া আমি এখানে বাদ ব্যবহার করতাম।
That's right. তো
আমার ফুরি যাইতে পারবো বিয়া করিয়া তাই আলগা গরো থাকতে হইব বাট আমি ফুয়ারবো আর মুজে বলা আমার লগে থাকতে হইব ডাবল স্ট্যান্ডার্ডস
It is double standard, but I'm happy to say it dharana thinking back on a change or. And I think it's changing for various reasons. It's probably because of the household settings, in the way inner city homes are built. It's not catered. It's money cater করে না. And আরেকটা সিচুয়েশন জেনারেলি স্পিকিং অনেকে মনে করেন যে সময় ইয়াং শ্বশুর শ্বশুরিতা হন তারাও ফিল করেন না তার যে স্পেসের দরকার and it's important to have space. But ultimately, as I say, আমরা আরেকটা ডিসকাশন হইতে in the near future to talk about the care and how it's going to affect families in the future. Hita long forward thinking, because obviously আমরা already একটা আছে সোনালী গার্ডেন একটা আছে and there is still a big stigma attached to আমরা society community মাঝে এরকম আমরা মা বাপরে আমরা সাইমুনি এরকম সিচুয়েশন হইতাম, because ultimately মানুষে ফিল করেন যে আমরা তখন চলন শক্তি আছে আমরা লুক আফটার হন, তারপরে সময় বাচ্চা তা হই না অনেক ইস্যু সকল থাকে।
Of course, over time আমরা বয়সও বাড়ের যে সারা জীবন ইয়াং থাকমু আর লুক আফটার করতাম আর মহিলা তো কোনো কথা নাই। So you have to plan for the future as well.
Absolutely.
So marriages are a complicated thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I totally see why people are scared, but of course it is also a very beautiful thing, because where you do see it work, it can work very nicely. I've also seen families where they are living with their extended families, but they're so happy together, they're harmonious in their homes. There's no, obviously the andorbar oito fare o ektuk upset, but as long as you resolve that, that's fine. But there is families out there that are still living in those situations. There are families out there that are saying to their children, you know what, we don't have the space anymore, I'm so sorry, but you guys need to move out now. That's okay, because you're moving out with the blessing of your parents.
Absolutely.
So it can work. You can have mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws who are friends and who can talk and who can basically be like mother and daughter.
Yes.
But there's positives to everything. So we're not trying to put people off from getting married. Of course, you need them to, because you need to be doing the paperwork for the divorce.
Well, I'm proud to say that I don't specialize in family law. So I can say that.
You take a commission from your friends.
Well, বর্তমানে the situation in terms of the law itself, they have introduced this no-fault concept of divorce. এখন divorce করাও নানি বাক্কা অনেক easy বানানি হয়েছে. It is a lot easier. You don't need to আগে তো আসিল নানি. You have to show that the marriage has irretrievably broken down on the basis of desertion, separation, adultery, behavior, unreasonable behavior, and so forth. এরকম জিনিসটা এখন লাগে না. Ultimately, it boils down to marriage as an institution. Is it still relevant in today's society? Alhamdulillah, আমরা যে Bangladeshi Muslim, British Bangladeshi, আমরার view হইলো it is important. Now again, we might now slightly move to another issue about marriage in the sense of legality of marriage, in terms of আমরা Islamic nikah যেটা অনেকে আমরা nikah করি আর that is sufficient in the eyes of Allah. We are married. So we probably are now creeping into another
thing.
Another topic, but it's related nevertheless. That অনেকে তো আমরা register করা নাই in terms of marriage. Okay. Nevertheless, in the eyes of Allah, you are married. আর একটা duty আছে in terms of fulfilling your obligations. Well, it is quite important to do that. Okay. So it is an institution, and in today's society, especially আমরা জানি external concepts হল আছে about living individually, even dare I say it, alternative lifestyles that are, to put it in a very soft way, আছে যেন আমি ইলান conform করতাম নাই to this model of getting married, having children, having my nuclear family, or even an extended family for that matter, because in the last 20 odd years অনেক জিনিস মানে different change হয়ে গেছে. So that's another thing also to bear in mind as well.
But that's something obviously we can discuss on when you come next time, because we have so many good topics that we find a way, like everything creeps into our one topic and suddenly we're talking about something totally different. But marriage, obviously from a solicitor's point of view, you tell us how, because we're concluding now, tell us what it is to you.
Well, marriage obviously depends. In today's society, obviously marriage can be solemnized, legal, valid, You can get married. Of course, আমরা the community culture,
Yeah.
you know, man and woman get married, register holla marriage, you know, in a registry office. And obviously, the whole idea is আমরা তো added একটা element থাকে, আমরা nikah যেটা
Yep.
in the eyes of Allah, because the way it works from a legal point of view is আমরা তো nikah একটা মানে ceremony হয়.
Yeah.
This is the religious tradition.
Yeah.
তারপরে আমরা হয়তো আমরা we may register
Register.
the marriage afterwards. Now, looking at it from a legal point of view, অনেক সময় থাকে যে you might actually opt just to have the nikah for years, but you have to be mindful of family, and you have to be mindful of issues regarding property, wealth, and inheritance.
Because it's not really recognized as,
So it's
as
quite
strongly as a registered
That's right.
marriage,
So
isn't it?
unless, of course, you get married in the Church of England type,
Right,
then it's automatically two
Well, that
in
wouldn't
one.
happen for Muslims.
Yes.
would it?
Yes. So therefore, I mean, you have to be mindful of inheritance-related issues, especially when you have children and property, and so to do anything to do with wills and what have you.
So we are going to have to finish today's
Yes.
show here, but we have to bring you back for another show.
It's an absolute
It
pleasure,
doesn't-
Amina, to come on your show. It's so nice. You know, we had a good laugh, and I
Of
hope
course.
viewers, দর্শক আপনারা যারা দেখছেন, আশা করি আপনারা আনন্দ পাইছেন। কিছু আমরা তরফ থেকে তুরা জিনিস কইছি, আমার my 2 pence worth, তুরা
Yeah.
জিনিস শিখছেন।
Inshallah, the whole
Inshallah.
point of the show is that we create discussions and
Yes.
let people open up insights and
yes.
manche thinking korta je
Yes.
amra kita koyar. So dear viewers, for today, our show is coming to an end. And of course, as always, inshallah, in 2 weeks' time, I will bring you another episode of Family Focus, and I'll have a new guest, a new topic, and our discussions will continue on that topic. So please stay with us, continue supporting us. We are on Facebook as well, so keep sharing that, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.